Alrighty then. And now that we're back on this a wonderful Thursday. By wonderful, I mean kind of wonderful. So.
What did I do? Oh, we're live. My bad.
She said, what did I do? What a great story.
Welcome back, Dane.
Well, I guess since I already heard me make a fool out of myself, I could just say hi.
Well, since we're all here, Nick, you want to introduce the topic for today?
Sure. Now, so yeah, today we are going to be talking about the influence of media and entertainment and how it can influence the way that we think, act, and feel about certain current events, politics, and other things. And honestly, this podcast is going to look a little bit different because when I was doing the notes for it, I kind of had like this vision of like, instead of like me being the main speaker and asking questions and, like the style we usually use, I decided that I saw this more as like an open discussion where it's almost like we're sitting around a table and we're just having this conversation as friends and kind of discussing our thoughts about it, like how we've seen it maybe in our friends and ourselves and our children, things like that. And just kind of have an open discussion. And I honestly, I encourage anybody who might be listening to this to also join the conversation. I don't want you guys to feel like you have to just sit there and listen. Like, it's open conversation, and that means for anybody who would want to make a comment in the chats or in any kind of way to kind of join the discussion and be a part of what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, so of course as we go along, it will become a little more, we'll focus on one specific thing as the week goes on. But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there. So the first thing I do want to say is that some of the topics that we're going to be talking about are sensitive topics. We will be talking about crimes and crime rates, including homicide and some of the crime rate statistics. We will be talking about rape statistics and things like that. And so I just wanted to put that out there that we will be talking about some sensitive topics.
And I'm ready for that because everybody knows. And you guys will know, listening to this, how I feel about the stupid ass crime. Believe me, I have so much to say.
Especially in New York City, yeah. And so, I just want to make sure that we all remember, those of us on here and you guys that are listening and might participate in the chats, that we are talking about sensitive topics, and I want us to remember that we are adults and to be mindful of what we say and how we say it. Because regardless of how we feel about some of these topics, some of them are the result of people losing their lives, losing their children, and stuff like that. So we just want to keep in mind that we are talking about people and not just statistics. That being said, I want to actually start with a video just to kind of show you what gave me the idea for this topic. And all right, I'm going to play it. Make sure the volume's all the way up because my YouTube volume's usually way down.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about the prevalent trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
Plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish fake stories simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias
and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 Extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is 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 extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Most people have no...
All right, so as you guys could see in that video, there is obviously some sort of agenda being pushed through news media outlets. And I want to make this very clear. When we talk about this topic, I don't want to talk about the Democrat versus Republican bias in news channels. I don't want to talk about, I want to talk strictly about the influence. And regardless of what side these news channels might be on, how they are affecting how we think and how we feel. And I think, I don't know about you guys, but what do you guys think about the video we just watched?
Basically, what I noticed that in every single, every single, I don't want to say outlet, but every single newscast, basically, they're all saying, oh, democracy, is a dangerous thing for democracy. The last time I checked, the United States, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, is basically a republican. It's never been a democracy. Correct me if I'm wrong, though.
You are not wrong in a sense where, okay, so we are a democratic, we are a republic. We are a constitutional republic. Now, a lot of what we do does represent democracy, but we have never actually defined ourselves, whether it be in the Constitution, whether it be anywhere else, as a democracy. I actually hate when people use the word democracy, regardless of, especially if you're going to sit there and be for democracy.
Because the way they made it sound on these outlet news or news station, however you want to call it, to me it just seemed ridiculous.
Well, and I think, like I said, my biggest thing is how they present it the way they do. Because it's not only just what they're saying. What gets me is the fact that they're all saying the exact same thing. And it doesn't matter what city you're watching it from or who you're looking at. They're all saying the same thing. So you call somebody on the phone, oh, I'm watching the news, and their TV seems to be echoing your TV. Wait, are you watching my local news? No, I'm watching my local news. Wait, you're in Virginia, I'm in Pennsylvania, they're saying the same exact thing. That should be alarming. Because that means that, one, these news channels are getting their script from somewhere. So then my first question would be, where is their script coming from? Who exactly is giving every single news station in America the same
I'm
script?
pretty sure they have their writers that will put all of that. But, Mr. X, do you have something to add?
Well, first of all, before we talk about that, it's part of United States, but it also, news affects us all around the world. It's just for an example, what's going on, for an example, Ukraine and Israel, it's affecting our news here. So I'm just going to keep that brief. But the one thing is, news media, it all depends on who you listen to and all that. I'm on, and I know you say you don't want to hear Democrat or Republican. My mother is a Democrat. My brother, he claims he's not neither, but he's listened to Fox News all the time. And you hear these things, and they will say, and actually, if you want to know, I go like Google News, and there's several other different
I know you
news
use New
outlets.
York Post as well.
Well, what I'm saying, some of them will say the same thing, and their news is that it's like Monique said, they're getting their script somewhere. But also another thing is, it makes me think, and I think I hear something about the government, the United States government controls our news. Is what they can say and what they can't say. And I wonder, do we really have the freedom of the press in the United States?
And I think the FCC does control. They have requirements and guidelines for the news channels, just as they do for any other TV channel that happens to be on cable or satellite TV. But as far as the freedom of speech, there's nothing in the laws that say you can't talk about this on your news channel, like you can't talk about this on your news channel, or only talk about, there's no laws to that extent. So we do have the freedom of the press, and it still is active today. Part of what our discussion about influence in the media and social media and stuff like that would be cancel culture. So if you're watching Fox News and Fox News says something that you don't agree with, well, all of a sudden we have to cancel them. And you go on Twitter, you go on Facebook, and it's all about, oh, this broadcaster on Fox News said something really cringy, and it's just not true. It's misinformation. It's fake news. We got to get her off there.
Didn't it do that with what's his name, Tucker Carlson or whatever?
Carlson. Okay, so yes and no. What happened to Tucker Carlson and a couple other Fox News hosts was actually, so the voting machine company Dominion filed a lawsuit against Fox because Fox was on air talking about election interference and were making statements about Dominion's voting machines. Dominion took them to court, filed a lawsuit against them, and Fox decided to come to an agreement with Dominion. And part of Fox's agreement with Dominion was to get rid of Tucker. And there was like 3 other hosts that they had to get rid of. That's why they let Tucker go, because they decided to, instead of going to trial, they were just going to come up with an agreement, and they threw Tucker under the bus and let him go. That's what happened there. So I guess
scapegoating what they did.
They did. They used him as a scapegoat. Yeah, they did.
But before you continue on, I also heard every single newscaster repeating the same thing, saying, "Oh, it's fake news, and you can't believe like what's real and what's fake." And I'm like, that's funny, considering the majority of these people do the exact same shit. And my language, but it is the truth.
Well, yeah, and their choice of wording in that video actually, like, it had me thinking too. Like, I'm like, wait a minute. So they said the word misinformation, and if you notice, they didn't say misinformation on news outlets or this. They specifically targeted social media. So those news outlets were saying misinformation and fake news and da-da-da-da on social media, right? Like, that's what they were saying on social media. They called out social media. Here's my question. Who decides what is or what is not misinformation? Who gets to decide what is misinformation and what isn't? Like, that's a big thing, because if you go on Twitter, or I guess we have to call it X now. I don't even know. I still call it Twitter, so it's Twitter to me. Whatever.
Well, everybody calls it like X, former known as Twitter, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, but if you go on X or Twitter and you look through your timeline, you're gonna see at least one of the tweets on your timeline is gonna have a little box under it that says, you know, discretion, da 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 da, and it's gonna give you context about the misinformation that might be found in that post. Here's the thing, though. Did you know that those little text box that alert you that there might be misinformation in your post and try to correct the information that the post gave you and give you the real quote unquote facts? Did you guys know that those are actually written by other X users like me and you?
Oh yeah, that one I knew. I'm pretty sure they even like bought out like the intention of everybody when that came out.
So it's like, wait, you have a regular person like me fact checking my Twitter post, and like sometimes their comments on there don't even make sense.
It's not only Twitter; it's also Facebook as well, and I'm pretty sure Instagram as well, if I'm not mistaken.
You know what? I don't even post
on. Didn't you have that happen to you about a few years ago, Monique? You said something and you thought they were going to fact check you?
No, I thought they were going to ban me because I said, and that was on Twitter. Actually, I get myself on Twitter a lot, in trouble a lot on Twitter. Although I have never been banned, I have been on temporary suspension and told I could not tweet, because I get myself in trouble. That's all I'm saying. Okay, I don't gotta put my shit out there for y'all. But yeah, but I think that's sad though. Like, look, we had a president of the United States get banned from all social media. Okay, like, come on.
That was Trump.
Well, yeah, it was Trump. Everybody knows that. That's why I didn't say his name, because that's kind of obvious. But
not only that, he was banned off of Spotify. Like, dude is a president. He's not a fucking rapper.
I didn't even. Why would they ban him on Spotify? Like, did he have like a podcast or something on Spotify? I don't know, but they banned him on all platforms, social media platforms, because they say, well, he tweeted misinformation and he, like, whatever their excuse was. And it's like, I don't get it. Like, what? Somebody help me out here, because, like, I could go on and on and on and on, about how stupid social media is.
Trump will say things that offends people, and that's why they are just fighting so hard to technically what they were trying to do is shut him up.
Well,
I find it ironic too, because like I know he throws this word out a lot, and you'll see like in pretty much every single headline. Oh, this is fake news, quote unquote fake news.
Do you know? I actually let me pull up a video, because Rick's just got my mind clicking, and I saw a video earlier, and hold on, because it goes right into what he just said, and I just totally spelled her name wrong because I put Rick's instead of her last name. My bad, Rick's. I'm trying to put your name into this lady's last name, but it goes along with the offense. Being offended, and everybody being offended, and oh, you offended me, now you got to go, you no longer have a life, I'm taking all your money, I'm taking your career.
There's a song as well that I feel like it would be perfectly fit. I'm gonna find out for you as well. What I feel like they're creating is like some sort of system.
I totally spelled her first name wrong too. Like, look, I've always been that one to be like, yo, they are like, I'm trying to find them. Oh.
It's not easy to stand up about the suicide.
Ooh, my goodness.
I was gonna say, what the hell am I hearing that from?
My bad. My bad. Trying to find the part where she says.
Appreciate that. Somebody in your agenda, and that can be an Achilles.
But overall, though, it's like it's just
Like money won't make.
even like these so-called influencers as well.
I love
It's
it.
like it's just
It's like two event speech that you
it's
dislike,
crazy, is what
that
it
you
is.
find abhorrent, that you find distasteful, that people would want to silence. So, like, there's sometimes I'll say something, whether it's on Twitter 10 years, because I cut out of my show.
I gotta find it. But anyway, so one of the things, okay, so while I'm looking for this, we're going to go to a topic that everybody's going to love, right? TikTok. 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 Everybody loves TikTok. Who doesn't love TikTok?
Well, I will say I do not like Joe Rogan. I feel like he's an asshole. He's everything, but I do agree with him on certain points. I'm just throwing that out there.
I'm not. I just want to make this very clear. I am not a Joe Rogan fan either. So the Joe Rogan video that I had, Russ, that was up there, I was actually not planning on showing us. I went to that one to get the link for the one that I did actually end up showing you guys. Because that whole segment that he did though with Howie, what's his last name? Denzel. That whole segment, like that 7-minute video that was up there, that's what they were talking about, the influence of media. And that was one of the videos that he showed Howie. And so I was like, oh shoot, that actually goes right along with what we're talking about today. So I'm not a huge fan of him either. He's like one of those narcissistic
Like there's certain
assholes,
things
but,
that I do agree with him on, and certain things that I do not. But I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, I get it. All right, so TikTok. Everybody loves TikTok, right? We all love TikTok. That's when y'all are supposed to be, yeah, TikTok. Yeah. Okay, no, not everybody loves TikTok. Okay. I, for one, hate TikTok. TikTok sucks. But I want to talk about
to be completely honest with you, like before you start the video, just throwing this out there, TikTok is banned in Montana. However, I do use TikTok, but I mainly use mine just to like look up food recipes and cool places and stuff like that. But other than that, I really do not care whatsoever.
Okay, well, I just want to talk about TikTok real quick because some things that I have noticed a trend in, and I have seen a lot on like X and stuff, is so TikTok right now happens to be the #1 mobile app used by our teen. Okay. And I don't want to go into the war. I just want to bring it up as a topic for the TikTok influence of TikTok. So I don't want this to like turn into like Palestine versus Israel. I'm just bringing it up for this.
Yeah, the little TikTok information, all of that. We're gonna expand that a little later.
Yeah. So I don't want this to get into like a strong, like detailed conversation about the war. I want to stick, but I'm going to use the war as a detail. So TikTok, when we have within the last couple of weeks, we've been seeing the war between Palestine and Israel, and I saw a really interesting X thread earlier that detailed the rise of teenagers, high schoolers, and their pro-Palestine stance, and they're and here in America, they're marching in their school hallways, they're doing rallies, and and I'll be completely honest, that's fine. Like we have the freedom of protest, we have all that. Do what you do. I'd rather you not do it while you're at school because you're supposed to be learning, not protesting, but that's a different story.
I agree.
But I brought that up because there was a Harvard poll that was done. And the numbers here kind of, I don't want to say alarm me, but they shocked me when I first seen them. And then when you look at the actual stats and you look on TikTok and their hashtag counts and their view hits and who's, sharing what the hot topics are, then you kind of get an idea of where these high schoolers are being influenced, how they're being influenced to think what they think, and how content creators on TikTok are being influenced to make the videos that they're making, okay? So, I want us to share this statistic real quick. I might actually bring it up and show you guys, but don't hack my X account. So I'm joking. But I'm about to show you it on my Twitter. So, okay. So the question was, do you think the Hamas killing of 1,200 Israeli civilians on Israel can be justified by the grievances of Palestinians, or is it not justified? Now, 51.
Explain that in simpler terms, because that absolutely makes no sense to me.
Yeah. So, do you think that Hamas was justified in killing 1,200 Israeli civilians due to grievance? Okay, that it can be justified, like they had a right to do it. It's justified because they were grieving.
Well,
Do you?
Well, before I kind of get what you're saying now. I may be a little bit biased just because I know the history, somewhat know the history of, especially with the Holocaust and everything like that. So in this case, I'm gonna say no, they're not freaking justified whatsoever. They're not.
Well, here's the thing. So this was the poll question that they asked, okay? And can it be justified by the grievance of Palestinians? 51% of 18 to 24-year-olds said yes. 48% of 25 to 34, 39% 35 to 44 years old, 23% 45 to 54, 11% and 9% for the 55 plus. And if you look at the bottom where it says not justified, 49% of 18 to 24-year-olds, 52%, and it goes up from there. Like the older you get, the more you think that it's not justified. The reason I bring this up though is because you can see that the percentage of the youngest group on here represents the highest percentage for justifying what?
I'm assuming
the killing.
I'm gonna assume that's like Generation C, millennials, and all that fun stuff.
Exactly. And now that we brought that up back to, you're probably asking, well, what does that have to do with TikTok? So these are Stand With Palestine hashtags are on the left. Stand With Israel hashtags are on the right. Now this is a screenshot on TikTok when searching these hashtags. If you look at it, you can see the difference in the view count. So the number one in Stand With Palestine is hashtag Stand With Palestine and 2.9 billion views. Stand With Israel, 207.7 million views. Okay, so almost 3 billion for Stand With Palestine and little over 200 mil for Stand With Israel. And you're looking at this right here, guys, YouTube men. What do you guys think how do you think this is influencing what we're seeing in the high schools in America? Like, how is TikTok influencing what we're seeing? From your perspective.
From my perspective, it's not just Stand With Pakistan and Stand With Israel. It's like a whole bunch of stuff. Because I've been noticing lately, and I'm gonna get into that topic, like I said, for another day, but I'm not gonna expand that right now. But I feel like majority of them are being influenced and are much younger than their counterparts, and I find that absolutely sad, just extremely sad. Because they're Generation Z, they don't understand half of the crap that comes out of there, and yet somehow they don't even know, not even their own sexual orientation either. So I find that quite hilarious.
Well, because their generation is social media. Everything that they do, everything that they say, everything that they think is generated and influenced by social media. And that was the whole point of this topic today. So, real quick before I let you answer Rick's, this is what I'm talking about. Now, you have TikTok. It's the #1 used app by teens today, okay? Unfortunately, both my daughters have it on their phones. I wish they did not, but they do, okay? And what we're seeing here is when you go on TikTok, you have your favorite TikTok stars, right? Like you have, they call them stars. I don't call them stars, whatever they call them. So you have your main TikTok people that you follow on TikTok. Oh yeah, that's my girl. I know her from TikTok. Or, when this person comes out and they make a new TikTok video, and their video is all about pro-Palestine and pro-Israel, whatever stance they are, that now becomes your stance. Not because you know about the topic, not because you actually know what's going on in the war, but your mindset automatically goes to, well, hell yeah, if that's what she thinks, that's what I think too. And you start resending the message. So you're like, oh, did you see this video so-and-so just put out? Look at this. Look what she's saying. And then you're spreading that message because your favorite TikToker said that thing. They said that message, and if she said it, then it has to be true. It has to be real. That's what we're going with. That's the trend. Now, why do you think...
That's the same way as how rumors work. Oh, somebody said so-and-so is this and that. You know how we back in the days before TikTok? That's how rumors gets around. And that's what TikTok is doing. They work like rumors.
See, here's the thing. There's his video pops up. I don't care about him. I still don't give a crap about him. But he goes by the name of Harry. Almost every single person that I have seen stitched a video of him speaking about crap that he has no idea he's talking about. So I do follow this other guy as well. I don't follow him, but I do see like his stitches. So he goes by I think older Manolio, yes, on TikTok. And a lot of, even though he's, like I said, I'm not going to go into politics on that, but I know he's liberal, but he's a common sense liberal, which is what I love and understand about him.
Is he a common sense liberal or a common sense Democrat?
Well, he calls himself liberal, but he still has like common sense. Like
so he's not
so he's not like those crazy like you're right, I'm wrong kind of person.
So he's not a progressive then.
Yeah, he's not like that whatsoever.
All right. But so staying on topic of social media and their influence. Think about this. Okay, we're gonna go into crime, which is Dean's favorite point of view. So he has a lot to say about this, but here's one of my biggest issues with media and entertainment. They paint a false reality that a lot of us tend to live by, right? Like we live in a box where what we see on TV, what we see on social media, that's our new reality. That's us. And that's kind of what scares me, is especially when it comes to our children and our teens. And I say this because if you look at Twitter, if you look on your local news channel, you would be led to believe that today in 2023, or even last year in 2022, the United States was a more dangerous place than it was in 1950. You would be led to believe that we are so much more danger today when we walk our streets than we were in the 60s.
Or not even in the early 90s, at least here in New York.
Yeah,
I'm not
like
sure about
you.
you guys, but at least here in the 90s, it was like bad.
I'd like to mention one thing.
Go ahead.
Like Twitter. I've been on, let's say, Twitter. It was Twitter at the time when they first, and I saw that, and people were talking about like, oh, I've gone to the grocery store and I've gone to the shopping store and all that. And to me, I looked at Twitter. Starts out being like a diary of yourself. I'm like, you want to be an open book to the world? This is where it all gets started.
Who is writing their diary on Twitter? I need to know them so I can read their diary.
No. I'm saying, let's say day one, I go to the shopping center, I buy some clothes. Day two, I go and buy groceries. Twitter is actually, people are putting down, they're actually making a diary of themselves. They're being open book.
Are you sure you're not? Are you sure you're not talking about Facebook? Because I be seeing people be posting what they eating for dinner and everything on Facebook.
I'm probably gonna think it. I know
Facebook.
I would see couples like on Facebook. Like I would see couples on Facebook with even like family members going, "Oh hey, I love you," and the same freaking spouse would be like, "Yeah, I love you too," but they don't even say it directly to their faces. So it's like you're being family friendly just to make your family look quote unquote, oh yeah, we have a healthy relationship, when behind the scenes we don't.
Dude, I have been with my husband for 17 years and I've never once told him I loved him in a comment on a post. Like when we do like anniversary ones, like I say like I love you da 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 at the end, you know what I mean? But I've never commented on his post and been like, I love you, and then he replied back, I love you. Like, no. Like, dude, you're sitting with me on the couch. If you can't tell me you love me verbally, then please don't tell me on social media. Like, that's just cringy. That's cringy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, especially when they break up, it's even more funny because they're like, they will go, the status would change from in a relationship to single, and then they'll be like, screw this person because yada yada yada. And then like 2 weeks later, they're back together and they're like, "Oh, I love this person because yada yada yada." I'm like, 2 weeks ago you were trying to kill each other. Now they're telling you love each other.
Yeah, it's like they put these posts out, and it's like, I need a new man, and I'd be reading those, and I'd be like, "Bitch, you don't need a new man. You need to go get a fucking job. Like, you don't need no new man. Go get a fucking job, okay? We want to talk female empowerment. Be a female. Get some empowerment. Get a fucking job." Women power. There you go. Okay, you don't need no man. All these people are like, oh, I love my boyfriend. And then the next day, oh, I love my new boyfriend. My boyfriend, Rick. I thought your boyfriend yesterday, his name was John. What happened? Where'd John go? Y'all kill off John?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I find it hysterically hilarious. Like, not everything needs to be on Facebook or on Twitter or on Instagram. Like, I don't need to know. Like, I don't need to know if you took a shower. Like, I don't need to know. Like, the rest of the world doesn't need to know that you stay clean.
Now you get the point where I was talking about how I saw Twitter was. When I first saw Twitter, I was seeing people on Twitter. I was checking. This is how I had saw Twitter. It was like people doing a diary of themselves. That's how I looked at it at first.
Well, yeah, and that kind of goes into what our actual topic is too, though, because it's like we sit here and we're like, well, nobody wants to see you like that. Nobody wants to hear that about you.
I mean, at this point, and to be perfectly honest, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but to be perfectly honest, you're going to do all that. You might as well throw out your social security number and throw out your credit card information. You might as well.
Hey, there have been people who have posted pictures of their credit card, talking about something. I just got paid. Here's my new credit card. And it's like, bitch, your money gone. Your money gone.
Yeah, I seen those kind of freaking like pictures. They would take a picture of like the debit card or whatever, and then all you see people in the like replying going, "What's your 3 numbers on the back?" And they respond to that, and they're like, "Yeah, you're an idiot."
Yeah, like, dude, like, or like they put up like their like game code cards or whatever with the code scratched out, and they're like, "Help me, I can't use this." And then it's like, dude, you ain't using it now because the first person I saw that post this, use your code, man. You out $20. But no, I think that does kind of go into what our topic is though, because it's like, do they feel like they have to do this? Is social media, is society, are we becoming a society where you have to do certain things? Put it this
we
way.
become stupid when it turns to social media. I'm sorry to say, but we do. We
Hey,
become extremely stupid.
American education system it sucks. Okay, that's all I'm saying. But I mean, what I'm talking about
this
more
goes
than
beyond that though.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that I'm sick of seeing on social media is like almost every other post of women or girls is like them in a skimpy dress or a bikini bathing suit or their boobs out or their ass out.
Or they
And
would
it's like
Photoshop themselves as well, and it's like, especially if you know the person in real life, and you see them like editing, photoshopping their bodies or whatever, or their features. It's like, you're pretty the way that you are. Like, why are you editing something that you shouldn't be editing?
Well, and I think celebrities play a big role in that too, because how many celebrities do we see in movies? We see on talk shows. Every picture we see of them, they look
Do you want to
so.
know? Here's one: Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, like they look so
She's
glamorous
a perfect
when.
example.
Yeah, they look so glamorous, but yet people don't understand when they take off their makeup. They look just like me and you. Okay, they sat in makeup for 2 hours to look like that. But the perception that they put out there on social media and on TV and in the movies is that that is what you have to look like to get attention. That is what you have to look like to be beautiful. And then off the screen, when they're in their own homes where no one can see them, there's no cameras, they take off all that makeup and they're just normal people like me and you walking around their house in sweatpants and whatever. But that's not the perception that they let us see, because they have this agenda where they have to try to teach young little girls that this is what a woman looks like. This is what beauty is. This is what this is.
Not
And
only that,
we're
like even plastic surgery is becoming like a brand new trend as well. Like they gotta fix their
exactly.
booty, they gotta fix their boobs, they gotta fix their face, they gotta fix their nose, and it's like, I get it to a certain degree, like I get it, but there's no reason for you to put on fake silicones or cement or whatever the hell they put in those things. It's like, you don't need
He
all
said
that.
cement. They are not putting cement in nobody's breast, okay? But no,
Well, I
I
wasn't
get it
talking
though.
about the breath, I was talking about the face.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, I get it. And there is a rise in plastic surgeries as well. And part of that is because you feel like, well, all the women that I see on TV and all the women I see on social media, they have these big plump lips. I don't have those. I need those so I can be pretty too. Or they have these really pretty eyelashes and my eyelashes aren't like that. So I have to go get surgery and get like permanent, like pretty eyelashes put on, or, you know, and that's what they're teaching young girls, that this is what beauty is. And it's really sad because you even have young girls who and I am focusing on girls right now, but I am going to get into boys too. But with the girls, they have this sense that
I
right
know that
now,
the
like
girls are. I know that the girls, teenage girls, little girls, even like adults as well. They are the most sensitive, and they're the ones that are most insecure about the way they look.
because of the perception that is given through Hollywood entertainment and social media and media alike. That's why, because they feel like they have to look like those people to be pretty. They have to look like those people for people to like them. And it's sad because right now we're living in this society where it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how
Like
you live.
this is not Barbie life. It isn't exactly fantastic either.
But your value,
Barbie doll impression.
yes. But right now we're at a point where these girls are rating their value in life and their self-worth on how many likes they get on social media, how many followers they have on social media. Well, I only have 3 followers. That means like I'm not good enough and I need to do more. And so they go and they try to find ways that they can gain more followers. And in doing so, they're actually doing more self-harm than self-good because their whole life is now consumed by how can I get more followers on TikTok? How can I get more people to like my TikToks? How can I get more likes on my Instagram posts? And that becomes their whole entire life. And we see them doing these crazy ass TikTok challenges so that, oh, well, that challenge looks really stupid, but if I do that, I can get followers and I'll get more TikTok likes. And oh yeah, that
all of these, like I said, the topic for TikTok, we're gonna expand that a little bit more, because it's not only TikTok, it's like live streaming as well. Like like what we're doing, Kick, Twitch, YouTube, and all this fun stuff. It's like there's good and there's bad in both cases. I do have a special guest coming in next week who's gonna share like his personal. He's gonna share his personal experiences as well, like all the good and the bad that he's been dealing with as well. So stay tuned for that.
I'm actually excited about that topic. So I'm gonna say this, and then I won't dig any more into it until next week. But I have a lot to say about that too. So I will just say this and leave it at this until next week. In my opinion, and I've been saying this for a while now. Me and my husband actually had this conversation almost a year ago. Twitch and YouTube is to boys what TikTok and Instagram is to girls.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I didn't know that either.
Twitch and YouTube and this game streaming, especially when it comes to gaming, game streaming, is exactly what TikTok and Instagram is to girls, but more for boys. Where now these boys, you have a lot of boys that come home from school and they're streaming themselves on playing their favorite video game. And they're not doing it just so they can be like, oh yeah, like I'm playing a game. They want the followers. They want people to watch their stream.
And not only that, they even lie about their ages, despite the fact that within the TOS, I mean, just in case anybody doesn't know what TOS is, terms and conditions, it's basically saying that you could be on this platform. For Twitch, I believe you can't be under, I want to say 14. Under 14 or 13 is one of the two. Kick is the same way. YouTube, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure the same way too.
But and here's what gets me though. They have requirements and guidelines like, oh well, you have to be 13 or 14 to use our site or to stream on our site. But yet almost every stream that they put out is targeted to that same age group. If you don't want that age group on your platform, why are you targeting them in your videos? Why are you targeting them in the streams that you do allow on there? Do you get what I'm saying? Don't target the audience you don't want using your platform and then wonder why they're on your platform.
And not only that, though, like I said, like I over-mentioned, majority of them lie about their age. They would say, oh yeah, I'm 18, even though they look and they sound like they're 12, 11, 10, whatever age they are, on streaming themselves playing Minecraft or Apex or Call of Duty or whatever they're playing on, and it's insane.
Well, and YouTube, I don't know about Twitch, and what the top streams are on there, but on YouTube, the top YouTube videos and the top live streams on YouTube happen to be playing Roblox and Minecraft. Those things appeal. Those things appeal to young kids. My youngest is 7. He plays Roblox. He goes on YouTube. He watches other people playing Roblox. He watches people playing Minecraft. These people know who they're targeting. They are targeting children under the age of 14. They are targeting the 5, 6, and 7-year-olds who are just starting to play games. And guess what they're playing? They're playing Roblox. They're playing Minecraft. Those are the ones they are targeting. Yet when those same target ages groups get onto YouTube, it's like, well, they shouldn't be on YouTube watching my channel anyways. Well, if you don't want them watching your channel, then why the fuck are you playing a game that is targeted to them? That's like sitting there and doing a live stream where you're watching Bluey and then saying, oh, well, the 3-year-old shouldn't have been watching my live stream. If you didn't want the 3-year-old to watch your live stream, then why the fuck are you watching a preschool show? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you, because it's like, what the hell happened to Stranger Danger? Like, the same way you would teach a child in person not to get inside a white van, or somebody promising candy behind a white van, should be the same thing as online.
Like, yeah, like, well, they shouldn't be watching my shit, but I'm going to put up content that's exclusively for their age group. Like, why?
I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I play Minecraft on my off stream. I don't play Minecraft on stream, because I don't want anybody like underage watching me play Minecraft, like, or trying to interact with me. I'm sorry, no. I'll play those. I don't play Roblox. I don't care about that. But Minecraft, I play it on my own off stream, because there's something that's relaxing to me. That's pretty much it. I'm just throwing that out there.
But, and I mean, like, I'm one of those ones, like, I'll be completely honest, and I know we kind of went off topic, but that's okay, because this was supposed to be an open discussions podcast anyways. But I'm one of those ones, I don't care what you stream. This is America. You stream what you want to stream. You do what you want to do, right? Like, hey, if I don't like what you're streaming, and if I don't like your podcast or whatever you're doing, I just won't listen to it. I won't watch it. I won't, like, but you do you. But at the same time, you can't sit there and do you and target a specific audience and then get upset when that specific audience watches your stuff. Like, you have to be aware of what you're streaming and the target audience for what you're streaming.
Even
of
content
course,
creating as well. It's like I said, this topic is going to be expanded next week when I bring in that special guest.
Yeah.
But because you brought up some very good points. But yeah, other than that, it's like even content creating and everything else is just absolute. It's targeting audiences that, even though that it's not meant for them, it's still made for them regardless.
But it also goes into the aspect of influence, because how many YouTube, okay, like, my son is like, my youngest is a really big fan of FGTV. I don't know if you guys know who they are.
I don't. I haven't been paying attention whatsoever to YouTube.
All right, it's a YouTube family. It's a mom and dad, and I think they have like 4 kids.
2 kids. YouTube Kids. There's an app for it on phones.
Yeah, it's FGTV. And my son watches them. I watch him. Like, I don't think they're bad. They play Roblox a lot. They play different games, but most of the time it is like Roblox or Five Nights at Freddy's, things like that. Now, granted, if my son was on Twitch or somewhere, he doesn't use Twitch. I don't let him use Twitch because I know the kind of content that could accidentally pop up on Twitch. But if he was on Twitch or YouTube and he was watching, and I have seen this, where he's watching a video of somebody playing a game that he's not allowed to play because he is only 7, then it's an immediate, hey, you better turn that. You're not allowed to watch that. Go to the next video. And he will. Because as a parent, it's my job to ensure that my children are not watching content or things that they should not be watching. Right?
Even video games. Like, that's why they have rating on video games. Like, I know, like, if you want to play a horror game, like, for example, I believe Friday the 13th, for example, I know those kind of games would be rated M for mature. And then you go into, PG, and then you go PG-13, and then you go T, and then it's E for everybody. So they have ratings for a freaking reason. They're not going to just make it up and be like, yeah, we're going to put Friday the 13th and rated E for everybody. Like, no.
What's wrong with Friday the 13th? Everybody loves it.
Here's the thing about rating. Rating started off with movies where, there's child and there's teen and, by age, and games are the same way. And that's how they do that. But also, not only they just using rating, they describe a rating. Let's say, for example, it's got too much violence or too much this and that. It's giving you warning before you watch.
Yeah, like the way that you're saying it, I'm gonna give you an example. Everybody knows I'm a big, huge fan of Mortal Kombat. Right? Mortal Kombat
Yes.
is not a kid-friendly game. Like that game is 100% gore, 100%
Violent,
bloody.
violent,
It's
very violent.
violence. It's everything. You're not gonna you as a parent, would you allow, or if you have a child, would you allow a 4 or even your 7-year-old or an 8-year-old play Mortal Kombat?
No.
No.
Exactly.
No.
But you have these parents that will allow them to play it, and it's absolutely insanity.
No, I did let my 7. Well, he was 6 at the time, but I did let my 6-year-old watch the Mortal Kombat movie. I did.
I want
He
to
does not play
pause.
the game, but he watched.
I want to pause there. When Dean was telling me about Mortal Kombat, I saw that on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. I told Dean that's just too much for me. That's too much fire, especially it's a lot of blood and gore. That's not my kind of stuff. Dean already knows firsthand
Oh,
what I think
I
about
do.
that.
Hold up. You call yourself a gamer, and Dean had to introduce Mortal Kombat to you?
I actually saw YouTube. I saw YouTube how Mortal Kombat.
He saw it for the first time.
Of the new game.
Well, not the new game. He actually saw it from I want to say one of the I want to say I think it was 11 or 10. I can't remember. But he actually saw the trailer for the first time, and the first thing that came out of his mouth was, "Oh hell no!"
Oh my gosh, Rick. Oh my gosh, and you call yourself a gamer. I knew what Mortal Kombat was when I was 14. Only because I had a little older brother who played it. But yeah, that's sad, Rick. I'm sorry. Like how old you are and you're just now hearing about Mortal Kombat. I'm sorry, Rick. I love you, but that's sad.
I don't know every game out there, but Dean was telling me about Mortal Kombat. And I did see the fight, but I think the earlier game didn't like, but as they make newer versions, they're getting more and more and more extreme. And that's another thing we got to look at, how media and entertainment does. They get extreme and they get too in depth, and that's affecting a lot of people.
Yeah, the video games and like and TikTok and YouTube and all that stuff and Twitch and Kick we'll be talking about. We'll expand that like next week with, like I said, with my special guest.
Yeah,
But I do agree with you 100% on that. It's like some of these parents, they don't even realize what they're buying for that kid. Especially me when I was younger. Like I knew the difference between fake and real and reality and fantasy. But some do not.
It's because parents don't care. And like I have a bunch that I can
not
contribute.
watching their kid enough. That's the problem.
I'm actually really excited about next week's topic because I have a bunch that I can contribute right along with that guy about how I feel about video games and stuff like that. Although my perspective might be a little bit different because I do not blame the creators of the game. Parents are bad parents. Okay. Like if you don't care what games you're watching. Yeah. Like if you buy the video game for your child, that's on you. That's not on the creator of the game. The creator of the game had a target age limit like group in mind, and I guarantee you your 6-year-old was not his target audience. Okay, so if you went to the store and you bought Grand Theft Auto for your 6-year-old, you cannot blame that on the creators of Grand Theft Auto. That is your fault for being a bad parent. But I'll leave the rest of that for next week.
Yeah, also for next week as well. I'm gonna put this out there. When Hogwarts Legacy came out, I know you're not a fan of Harry Potter, nothing, but I'm gonna post that article at some point. Just give me a reminder. Just give me a reminder to do that. But they were trying to cancel that game, and do you want to know why?
Tell me.
I mean, so you know how Harry Potter was created by J.K. I don't know if her last name is Rowling or Rowling, but I'm sure you can take it.
I love her.
You
I
can
love
take
her.
it whatever which way you want to take her last name. But she had nothing to do with the video game. Okay, I'm just throwing this out there. She had nothing to do with the video game. However, the only reason why they wanted to cancel that game was because there was absolutely no. You ready for this? Because
Yes.
there was no transgender characters in it, right? Or at least from what I understand. And it turns out there is a transgender character in the game. However, the only reason why they decided to want to cancel the game was because J.K. Rowling has her issues with the LGBTQ plus community, mainly the transgender community. That's the whole reason why they wanted to cancel the video game, despite her not having a damn say in that video game. Like, make it make sense.
Okay. So wait. They were mad because there were no transgenders in the game?
Originally, yes.
And I'm not
But
surprised.
originally yes, but it turns out that there is a transgender character in the game. So the real reason, right, ended up coming like a couple weeks later or a couple months later, stating that the reason why they wanted to cancel the game was because of J.K. Rowling, or Rowling, whatever last name you want to prefer it to say, is because of her transgender views. Despite her not having a damn say in the video game whatsoever, she didn't create it. She didn't give anything. The only right she has was the right to Harry Potter. That's pretty much it.
Okay, now this is what I will say. She had nothing to do with the creation of the game. However, she still gets money out of the game because they used her creation to create the game. So I could see their stance to a point where, okay, I'm not going to buy that game because that's just putting money into her pockets. Whether she had anything to do with the creation or how the game goes or anything like that, she's getting money because they're using Harry Potter. She's getting royalties from that.
Yeah, but not only that though, but what's the craziest part was, like, it was a big thing that on TikTok when I saw with my my news feed was nothing but Hogwarts Legacy and this whole J.K. Rowling versus cancel culture and all that stuff. But funny enough, that game broke fucking records because people were telling the transgender community, you know what? Fuck you. We're not bound down to you no more. We're done.
Well, and I think it always has like that opposite effect. What they think it's gonna have, like, oh, well, first of all, let me say this first. If that was me, do I try to get the game canceled so that it doesn't come out and other people can't enjoy it? No, I just don't buy it. I don't play it. And that's my issue with cancel culture. Like, no, if you don't like it, if you don't like J.K. Rowling, if you don't like this, then don't play it. Don't buy it. But let other people enjoy it because that's
the
their
problem
right.
with people today. They want to jump down and let's say they want to shut down something. And the fact is, I go along with you, Lenny. I believe in the economy system. I believe you can try it one time. If you don't like it, don't bother it again.
Exactly.
Let it go.
But
let it be.
Their protests and their calls for cancel always seem to go the opposite direction if you've ever like noticed and paid attention, because
I have, it always backfires. I know.
Because all they did by doing that and starting this thing on Twitter and stuff was they had fans of J.K. Rowling who like her views on womanism, who like her views
again. Like, I know
by
majority
the game.
of people. Like, I know majority of people in terms of her, like, they don't care about her. The only thing they care about was the fact that she created Harry Potter. She brought life, and she brought everything, like, she brought like a fandom together when she created Harry Potter.
But I also guarantee you, people who do not watch Harry Potter, like, I didn't buy the game. My husband does have the game. He bought it. But people who don't like Harry Potter, like me, I'm not a fan of Harry Potter. I know that's like criminal, but I'm not. That follow her more for her political views or have recently started following her because of her stance on womanism and stuff like that. Even though they might not like Harry Potter, I guarantee you that game skyrocketed because those people bought the game. because they were gonna support it and they were gonna, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Because
they did,
what they
because a lot of the, like I said, a lot of these videos I saw on TikTok, majority of them were mainly saying, you know what, screw y'all, I'm still buying the game regardless of what you say. You can call me whatever you want to call me. I don't care. This game looks fun. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna enjoy the hell out of it. Screw all of y'all.
Like, remember
Well, here,
when they, hold on real quick, Rick. Remember when they did that big campaign about
excuse me.
Chick-fil-A
Go ahead.
being, when they did that big campaign about like, oh, don't go eat at Chick-fil-A, like boycott Chick-fil-A because they're anti-gay and they're and
I
within,
saw that.
Yeah, I kind of remember.
but
I
2
recall
years
that.
ago.
but that backfired on them so bad because the lines at Chick-fil-A were going out into the main streets. Because instead of getting people not to go eat at Chick-fil-A, what they did was they had millions of people line up to go eat Chick-fil-A. Like, it always
It
goes
brought
the
in more
opposite way.
business.
It always
brought
goes
in
the
more
opposite.
business.
Exactly. Like, it never works in their favor. Like, I don't understand why they don't get that. Like, just stop embarrassing yourself.
Because I feel like also, like, it gets to a point where people are already tired of hearing the same thing over and over and over and over and over. Like, we all freaking grew up watching South Park. Like, how the hell are we offended at this point?
You know, nothing offends me because I'm gonna tell you why nothing offends me. Because I don't give a shit about what people have to say. I mean, I have my views, I have my opinions, you have your views, you have your opinions. And you can't offend me. Like, I could give two shits what you say. You can have your point of view, you can have your opinion. Nothing offends me. Like, please. You say something like, okay, I'm a Christian. If you say something that's anti-Christian, you're not going to offend me. I'm just going to turn the channel. I'm going to stop listening to you. I'm going to stop watching you. I'm going to stop reading your book, whatever. But I mean, you continue to do you. You continue to say what you have to say. You can't offend me. I know where I stand. I know what my truth is. I know that. Like, you cannot break me. You cannot offend me. You cannot shake my foundation. You can try. Because what happens is I'm going to be completely honest, when people get offended, and I know we went off topic, but again, this is open chat, so we can talk about whatever the hell we want by now. But when people say, I'm offended, what you're really saying is, I don't have a foundation. And if I do have a foundation, there are cracks in it. So you can crumble me at any time. When you refuse to let what comes out of other people's mouths offend you, what you're saying is, I have a firm foundation that I stand on, and it doesn't matter what you think, what you say, what you do to me. You cannot even place a single crack into my foundation, let alone destroy it. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, offense is, like, you decide how you're offended and how you're not offended, and nothing can offend me. Like, I don't get offended. Like, I could care less.
But yeah, like the whole video game and industry with like all of that, we're gonna expand that next week. That's a topic that I really want to get into.
But all I'm saying is, stop influencing our kids with social media. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Alright, so going back to the topic at hand before we got a little off topic there. So
That's all right. It's open discussion.
So what you were saying about Joe Rogan and Howie Mandel?
So they sat down together on Joe Rogan's podcast, and they did it's 7 minutes, so I wasn't planning on showing it, but their entire, I mean, we can if we want to, but their entire segment that they put on this YouTube video was about the influence of media and entertainment and how it affects us and how we think and feel.
I mean, you can show like some of it. I got no problem with it. Just make sure you put the caption on.
Okay. Can y'all not hear it the last?
Oh no, I could hear it. I just like reading it at the same time.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Close caption. Okay.
I have very short attention span, just in case anybody haven't noticed.
Be
Be a digital detective.
Oh man, really?
Enroll in the new Google Cybersecurity Certificate to
I hate
I
it when they
question.
jump at YouTube
Can I,
and
can I just
TikTok.
say for the record, I do not want to be a digital detective. Okay. All right, let's go.
Tweet. Oftentimes you could take it and search that tweet and you go, oh, look at this. There's fucking 50 people saying the exact same thing.
And it must be true.
And you go to their thing and it's like an American flag and a number behind it and some weird name. And you're like, oh, this is horseshit. This is like a fake account.
Well, I come from an era where if you read it, then it must be true. You know,
back in the newspaper days.
Yeah, but that was it.
Yeah.
You'd say something stupid, somebody, well, where the fuck did you say? I read it. It was in the paper.
That was what was dangerous, right? Because they could just promote propaganda and put things in the paper.
But
that
that's
they
what's
knew
happening
weren't
now.
True.
That's the internet is our new paper.
Well, also the newspapers are doing it too.
Yeah,
they're doing it too.
They're bought.
Yeah, there's a lot of weirdness going on. There was a thing the other day that was talking about the Nord Stream pipeline. It was in the New York Times, and it was saying that maybe we shouldn't know. Maybe we shouldn't know who did it. Like, because there's all this speculation the United States blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. Sidney Hirsch, who was this hugely respected journalist, he wrote about this, and that's his name, right? Seymour Hirsch, right? I'm Philip Seymour. I'm fucking up. Seymour Hirsch. So Seymour Hirsch writes this article on his Substack about how the United States was involved, and then you have the New York Times saying maybe we shouldn't look into that. Like, what? That's not your job. Your job is you're a journalist. You're supposed to give the people the pertinent information.
And let us make our own.
Yes. And if your job is now propaganda for national interest, because it would be not in our best interest for the rest of the world to know that we did that, now you're acting as an arm of the state. And now you're no longer acting, unless you think this is like, and this is probably the justification, that this is like, could start World War III. So they feel like they're in this sort of activist position, like a position where they're not just disseminating information.
That's not where the activist needs to be. You don't need it from our news sources.
No.
That's it's supposed to be a fact source.
Yes.
That's why I can't watch any television news, any network.
Right.
Because I don't want to know how you vote. I don't want to know what you think.
It's also trying to influence you. They're trying to bend your mind into whatever their narrative is. And it's not just the information. It's editorialized information almost always.
I think it's more about because, there used to be 3 stations. There used to be the 6 o'clock news, maybe 2 newspapers in every city. They're vying for your eyeballs and ears.
Yeah.
And what gets you there is if you feel there's somebody supposedly like-minded.
Yeah.
That's another, because the news is news. It's all going to be exactly the same. So what makes this one different than that one? Well,
these are my people.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that video where it shows local news people? I'll send it to Jamie. It's local news people all saying like the exact same thing. It's really weird.
No.
It's one of those things where you go like, I kind of knew that this happened, but to see it happen so blatantly.
Watch Surreal.
Here, I'll send this to you, Jamie. I have the actual video of it. I could just send it to you.
Radio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility
Yeah, that's it.
is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities.
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities.
All right, I'm going to pause right here just for a minute, and I'm just going to say, I'm going to let this play through. I know we already saw this video, but I'm going to let this play through because I want you guys to focus on Howie's, not Joe's, but Howie's reaction to this video that we watched earlier, okay?
Can I say something?
Yes.
Okay, I was taking a sociology class, and it kind of reminds me how they streamline people, they put people on a track, and this is what's going on today. You're hearing the same stuff. They're putting a lot of people on a track the way they want us to be on. And, and the question is, where is our individualism? I think it's fading away.
Exactly.
Because, and that's what's happening, is because they set people on a track. See, what happened is, I was learning originally, like, for an example, in the education system. That's how they put people on a track. Some people would be on a track of this direction, like, for example, most likely going to work in manufacturers. Others going to be like doctors and things like that. They put people on a track and set them on that, and it really streamlines their life on it. And it's really, if you look at it, are we living our lives independently?
Exactly. Hold on one second. But yeah, so I want you guys to focus on Howie's reaction to seeing this because this is the first time he is seeing this. All right.
What communities?
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about
plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets without checking facts first. Unfortunately, some members of the media
This is fucking scary.
Yeah.
This is the scariest.
Well, that's propaganda. I mean, this is they're trying to bend a narrative in a very specific way for everybody, and they're warning you about something that's a legitimate concern, false information, but they're also spreading it all the time. So it's like what they're saying is nonsense. What they're saying is they don't want to relinquish control of what the news is and what information is to the internet, to independent news sources and all these people that are investigating on very uncomfortable but probably likely facts.
Right, and then we get bombarded by these narratives.
Yes.
So every one of us, based on what we're intercepting,
our echo chamber.
But what is reality? My reality is different than your reality. You know, we're not. That's why I need to talk to people who oppose.
Sure.
I need to talk to people who are different. I need to get out of my comfort space, but we don't.
Right.
I don't know what reality is. I really don't know. Do you? Do you feel like you have a sense of it?
You have a very slippery grasp, like trying to catch a salmon with your hands. It's like it's slippery. Whatever it is.
All right, I'm gonna end it there because we pretty much got to like the core of what they were talking about at the beginning. But when you put that before they showed that video, everything they were talking about into perspective, like what do you guys think about what they were discussing?
I mean, I agree. Like even Howie's voice himself, like his whole facial reaction and the fact that he said this is scary is 100% true. Like this is scary. It's just, and what he said is also true as well. Where it's like your reality is different from mine. Mine is different from everybody else's.
Exactly, but it's and I like the word that they use. Propaganda. It's pure propaganda. They're trying to program into your head how you're supposed to feel, how you're supposed to think, how you're supposed to act. And I also like what he pointed out too, though. They're trying to control the narrative. So that whole segment that those news channels were doing in that video was about how social media and the internet news outlets are spreading misinformation. So we need to watch what we listen to from them, what we see from them, and not believe everything. But you can come to us, those of us on this screen that you watch nightly, and you can believe everything we say. So like they're trying to say like we're not doing this, even though they are. It's like let's take the spotlight away from us and let's focus on how these people are doing these bad things, so that we can continue to control the narrative. Because if we let these news outlets come, and we let people on Twitter and people on Facebook and all this, if we let them create a different narrative, then our narrative and our control is gonna start to fall apart, because now other people are saying different things, and people might wake up to what we're doing, and they might see the reality of the propaganda being spread in the news outlets, and they're like, we can't have that.
Yeah, it's just absolutely. I find it absolutely appalling at this point. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, propaganda has been going around a long, long time. And if you want to, I'm just going to be brief. It starts off with newspapers going back, when printing press made. And, and you could print any information and you could get people And when people go up on the wall, they read everything, and that's how they spread. Now, I'm going to go quickly how we get where we are today. When radio came in, then TVs, and now the internet. See how we are in the entertainment, media, whatever revolution of technology that give us. And what's the next step after that?
I mean, to be perfectly honest, especially when it comes to like the radio and all this fun stuff, all of this was 100% true. It's like you pretty much knew exactly what was true and what was not true. It's all really in front of your face. You just have to research it.
All right, so do you want to know who I blame for the push and influence and encouraging influence in social and not social media, but in entertainment and in news media? Do you want to know who I blame for that?
Well, you typed in Richard Nielsen or whatever his name is.
Oh, y'all reading my stuff? Sorry, I forgot I was on there. No, I don't blame Nixon. I blame Ford. I blame Gerald Ford and his wife for it. I do.
Who?
Because Gerald Ford and his wife. Because I'm going to explain myself here real quick before we do our closing arguments. After Watergate, right, Nixon left, Gerald Ford came in. Now, Gerald Ford, as president, was left with this big job of bringing back the trust in the presidency, right? Nixon had just did the shit that he did and he pulled, and now there was a lot of distrust in the presidency and the government, and Ford had to kind of bring back this trust. How did he do it? He did it by putting himself everywhere. He was on the radio. He was on the news. You got to see his life on TV. Okay? Hold on one second. Yes. But he put his life out there. His wife put herself out there. They were no longer just behind the scenes advocates. They were no longer just behind the scenes president and first lady. They were out there on the screen. Almost everything they did, you could watch, right? And the whole entire point of that was to encourage and to try to show the people that you can trust us. Look, here we are. We're doing this for you. We're doing that for you. We're showing you what we're doing on TV. You can see us doing it. We're not just saying we're doing it. Like, here it is. And it encouraged propaganda. It encouraged
be completely honest with you, and I'm throwing this out there. I don't even trust a stranger, let alone somebody walking down the street telling me all of this.
Exactly. Like that's just what it is though. Like I blame Ford. I also blame England. Okay. I did say England. And the reason I blame England is because like with Queen Elizabeth, man, like she was the first one to have her wedding and her coronation all on national TV for the world to see. Like y'all don't put y'all business out there. Y'all don't use the new creation of the TV to spread propaganda and to show all this stuff. And like, ooh, look what I'm doing. I told you I was real. Ooh, look what I'm doing. I told you. You don't have to read it in the paper no more. You can actually see me doing what I'm telling you. Because I want your vote. I want your points. I want those brownie points, baby. So but then as soon as the camera goes off, they're walking away from the camera and they're talking about, man, fuck America. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest.
Like I like to call it the two sides of a penny.
Exactly. They're one way in front of the camera, and as soon as the camera is off, they're totally different. And that goes for everybody. That goes for Democrats. It goes for Republicans. It goes for anybody that is in the spotlight. As soon as that camera is off, they are a totally different person. And they could give two shits about you.
See, that's what I see about, when I notice, like my mother likes to watch CNN and my brother likes to watch Fox. And, and they can put out the same news, but it's how they tell their stories. might be a
It's
few
like
words
watching a
different
movie.
here and there. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah, it's
I
like
hate
watching the
CNN.
movie Pearl Harbor on HBO, and then they moved Pearl Harbor to Cinemax, and it's like it's the same fucking movie on a different fucking channel. Like, what's the point?
I hate CNN. See, I'm not one of those ones to watch news a lot. Like
Neither am I.
I do not watch CNN
To
because
be honest, I look at it, both of those news media, which is the most popular, they have a certain element of propaganda. Each one of them does it. CNN does it, Fox does it. They have a certain element of propaganda.
Like, I am one that used to watch Eyewitness News, at least here in New York before. But with Eric Adams and the Wicked Witch of this whole entire governor, and we're going to talk about her again before we even introduce a guest next week. But that's like a whole different story.
we could do a whole podcast just on her and Eric Adams, man. I'm telling you. But here's what I will say: like, I don't watch a lot of news. You will never find me watching CNN. I despise CNN. I will watch NBC, but 90% of the time I am yelling at the screen and telling the person on the screen to shut the fuck up and go read a book.
For some reason, I could picture you just screaming at your TV saying, "Shut up!"
I do. I do. I'm not even gonna lie. I have arguments with people on the TV all the time, especially when I'm watching news. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I pretend like they're right there, and I'm like, "Shit, bitch, shut up, go read a book." But So I do watch NBC sometimes, but like I said, usually I'm yelling at the screen because they're just like so dumb. I do watch Fox, but like I said, like I'm not one of those ones. It's like, ooh, it's 6 o'clock. Let's watch or 5 o'clock. Let's watch the 5. Let's watch it. Like, no. I might tune to it every now and then. Usually it's when something's going on. So like when the war between Israel and Palestine first started, I did watch Fox to kind of just like, I turned on the news to figure out like what was going on. Cause like I saw everything on Twitter and stuff and Facebook and I'm like, holy shit, what's going on? So like I did turn on the news to like see like, and usually it's different things like that with the shooter in Maine last night. I did watch a little bit of the news today to figure out if there was any updates on that and like what was going on there. But I'm not one of those ones to like turn on the news on a daily basis and be like, let's see what they have to say today. Like, no. That's not me. But usually when I am watching the news, I am watching Fox or NBC. And I do yell at the people on Fox just as much as I do as the people on NBC. But I don't watch CNN because if I watch CNN, I'd probably I'm shit. Yeah,
I don't watch CNN either, just because it's just full of bullcrap that nobody gives a damn about.
I don't even understand what CNN's actual like. I don't understand what
they used to be good, but then I don't know what the hell happened, and then they just started to like go downhill from there. So I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't really watch. Yes, I despise CNN. But anyways, okay, so we're going to do our closing arguments. Yeah, we're in court now, y'all. We're gonna do our closing. Oh my god, I can't even talk now.
Our closing thoughts. There we go.
Yeah. We're gonna do our closing.
Podcast to a freaking courthouse.
And then we were putting closing on. I don't know. Okay, we're gonna do our closing thoughts right now. So I'm gonna let you guys go first, and then I will end with mine.
So, in terms of everything in general, then yes, influence of the social media as well as the news and all of that, it's just a whole bunch of bullshit that no one gives a fuck about. It's like you have eyeballs, you have the internet at your freaking hands. If you wanna figure out the truth, you gotta learn to separate the fact, the truth, the opinions, and everything else. And those are my 2 freaking cents.
All right, Rick.
Well, I just looked at it. A lot of things on the media They're bringing out the same stuff. And, you know, we're watching just about almost the same thing. It's not just news, it's also entertainment as well. Let's say, for an example, I give you an example. I watch like cartoons. Many of us have watched Bugs Bunny. Just about almost everybody watched Bugs Bunny. I'm not too crazy about the mini cartoons, whatever they
are you
call
talking
that.
about Bugs Bunny as Looney Tunes Bugs Bunny?
Yeah.
Looney Tunes.
Okay. I see. Just about nearly everybody watched that. I grew up on that, and to me, I have watched a lot, and you know, and I have watched, you know, along with my family, where we watch like the news, and I'm trying to think of it's a detective shows, New York. Thinking like Welcome Back to Kotter or something. I can't remember. And we watch these things all the time. And it really has streamlined. It's not just young people, it's people of all ages. It's been affecting us since radio, you know, newspaper, mainly radio and television has really streamlined our
It's stone
communication.
paper because you're older than Moses.
Aw. You mean, Rich, you were reading news off stone tablets?
Of course.
I
He's older
do
than
sometimes.
Moses.
Oh, man. All right. So now it's time for my closing thought. Here are my closing. Closing. Oh my god, I need to get off here because I can't even talk no more.
I was gonna say, you better not take off your clothes now.
Yeah, I'm giving you my closing thoughts. So I think that yes, with the rise of social media and entertainment and streaming services, we have seen a rise in propaganda and influence, and a lot of it comes in the way of misinformation, disinformation, purposely feeding misinformation to change how viewers think, feel, and act. But I will also say this: whether you read it, whether you see it on TikTok, social media, whether you watch it on YouTube, watch it on your TV, whatever, never take anything anybody says at face value. That includes me, that includes the other two on this podcast. Never take anything that anybody says, anything that you read, anything like that, to face value. Research for yourself. Educate yourself. And when I say educate and research, I do not mean turn on CNN, turn on Fox, turn on NBC. Actually research. Don't click on the first article that comes up on Google when you research either. And be like, oh yeah, da 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 da. Go through Google. Go through the first 5 pages, 6 pages, 7 pages. Read different articles. Get different points of view for every topic. And then once you get information from both sides, from multiple sources, then you make your decision about what you're going to believe, what you think happened, your opinion on stuff, whatever. Never just take one thing you hear or see and run with it and take it as fact, because 9 times out of 10, what you are reading, what you are seeing is not true. So educate yourself. Don't fall for the bullshit.
Jesus for real.
Ooh, okay then.
All right then.
And also I'm gonna say this because you're probably gonna hear. I'm gonna close every podcast with this right now. This statement from here on out.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
From here on out, the end of my final thoughts every week is going to be stop being bad parents. There you go.
I'd just like to do a quick reflection on when, to me, I've done research, like look at different news, like Lil Nick said. Some of it say the same thing, and I'm trying to look to see where they report different news, not just something, like one example, what happened last night about this mass shooting going on in Maine. Just about every newspaper, every news outlet is going to talk about the same thing for the next 6 hours, maybe 3 or 4 days. And here's the thing is, when we talk about information, there are misinformation, but also I want people to learn one clue: direct communication is what they want you to hear.
Exactly.
Watch out for those.
Exactly. And with that, that is the end of our podcast. We will see you guys next week when Dean will be hosting.
Yes, I will be hosting next week with a very special fourth guest that we're gonna have on this wonderful podcast that's gonna be joining us. Where we're gonna be talking about mainly just as we mentioned earlier, for those of you who's taking in the end, we're gonna be talking about TikTok as well as video games such as Twitch, Kick, and everything else with our fourth special guest. So stay tuned for that. So with that, we all wish you a good night and a blessed day.